everybody, and welcome to Spirituality Gone Wild. I am Debbie G, otherwise known as Debbie Gratitude, if I can get it out today. How are you all doing today? Today we're going to have such a fantastic discussion all about plant medicine, mental health, and really bringing some awareness to the stage about plant medicine. I, for one, am a huge proponent of plant medicine, and I always will be because my personal experience with it has been life altering and life changing in the way that I've chosen to use it, which I'm going to discuss with our upcoming guest, who I want to tell you a little bit about because he's like super rad and very, very cool. Let me tell you, David Rosenthal is the founder of Plant Medicine Portal. After witnessing and experiencing firsthand the challenges of ethical gaps in the plant medicine space, David was inspired to create Plant Medicine Portal, which is a sanctuary of integrity, accountability, and true integration. Rooted in personal experience, this initiative was born out of a deep understanding of the urgent need for ethical practices, responsible guidance, and genuine support for those navigating transformative plant medicine therapies. And I have to personally agree. This is a subject that really does require more education and more talk, and we are about to do that. So welcome to the stage, please, David. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about what's so near and dear to my heart. So I appreciate that opportunity.
I'm so excited about this. I mean, you know, my background with it has been I live in Colorado. We own an Airbnb ranch there, and we have a product called Silly Lion, and it's a microdose, and it's a stacked one. And I'm not currently microdosing because I'm on a hiatus for a minute because I took it for a while and then found that I didn't really need it as much now. But I'm going to tell you the life transformation I've had with restructuring my nervous system with the staying power of what that it's given my brain and my nervous system. I can't really explain it. It's something I think we all have to experience. So I just wanted to preface that because I again am asking people to please have an open mind. I realize what we've been taught, but as most of you who do watch Spirituality Gone Wild know, most of what we've been taught is bullshit. So let's buckle in, get your get your questions ready. Well, I mean, if it's no bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Well, then we're no bullshit, but
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm grateful that you're here. Woo!
Yeah. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful
Wonderful.
to be here.
Okay, so how'd you fall down this rabbit hole?
So my first experience with plant medicine was in like 2014. It was in Miami. It was a couple of more of the mild medicines, and they're what I had noticed early on about this was that it was kind of being used a little bit recreational in my first experience. And so I ended up leaving Miami and moving to Asheville, North Carolina, where I had my first real medicine experience in 2015 with ayahuasca. And absolutely the most beautiful, terrifying night of my life. Very profound message that came through for me in that ceremony was I was a 20-year abuser of cannabis, just smoking it every day, waking and baking with it just being high all day long. And in that ceremony, that first ceremony, very clearly, grandmother is like, I'm going to change your relationship with cannabis tonight because it's a medicine just like all these other medicines and you're abusing it, and I'm going to change your relationship. And I walked out of that ceremony. When I say literally, I smoked every day for 20 years. I walked out of that ceremony and had absolutely no desire to smoke cannabis. And I went like stone cold from that ceremony for about a year.
Mm.
And then I picked it up for like maybe like a couple of months, and then I got married, and my ex-wife, she didn't smoke, and I just knew that it was like just time to stop. And so I'm like 6 years now with no desire whatsoever to work with that plant, and just saw like how profound like these medicines really are, and
Yeah.
and the changes that they can make. Um, so that's kind of how my journey started with this. And um, if you want to get into like what is like why plant medicine portal was created, is
Oh,
because I was creating for myself what I was not getting in this space. And
what you mentioned many things. You mentioned ethics, you mentioned
yeah,
integrity,
yeah.
accountability, and well, and I also want to just address a couple of things you said. So, marijuana is also a plant, but you were abusing the plant. So, I think that this is something super key for everybody to sit and recognize that. And the plants do talk to you. They tell you when they're about done with their relationship with you too.
Hmm.
Even and I know that that's true because I've experienced with plants. That's just what the mushrooms were like. Okay, we're done now. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So in that relationship breaking, what also you had an integration process with the ayahuasca. And during that integration, what kind of practices did you do to really ingrain the teachings in?
See, that's kind of the
Why you
point that I,
created the portal, isn't it?
this is why this is one of the reasons why I created the portal, is because what in my experience with these medicines, what was not happening was there wasn't integration. It was
That's
going it was
correct.
going to it was going to ceremony. It was drinking medicine. It was
Hmm.
sitting in a 1 hour sharing circle afterwards that they call integration. And then you leave the container and you go back to your life, and it's basically you got to figure this shit out for yourself. And so that really what again, I have created this whole project for myself. But over the 2 years that I've been working on this behind the scenes and the hundreds of phone calls that I've had, I'm hearing the exact same thing, that like I'm not alone in this space, that people are not getting the things. There are definitely some good people out there that are facilitating this medicine beautifully, and that have some protocols, but the for the amount of medicine that's being served and the amount of like true integration that is happening, the gap is way too wide. And really what we want to shine a light on with this project is the big elephant in the room, which is that the medicine is the solution, because the medicine's not the solution. The medicine is a tool.
That's it. That's
and,
all.
and yeah, it's a tool, and a lot of people are using it as a crutch, unfortunately. And so
Yeah.
yeah, we're really wanting to shine a light on the real work is when you leave the ceremony and you actually embody these teachings and the messages that the plants are giving to you, and you're actually doing something with it. Otherwise, it just becomes another addiction where you go from ceremony to ceremony to ceremony, and you're not really doing the work.
I just can't. I mean, I'm sorry. Who I haven't done ayahuasca, but I know people who have.
Yeah,
I'm certain I couldn't imagine trying to go ceremony to ceremony with something
yeah,
that is going to make you purge everything out of both ends that you've
yeah.
ever held on to, especially if you come from severe CPTSDs in my life,
Mhm.
you know? I already am like, I don't know about that. So, what do you think of rhythm yet?
Um, so I have never been, and I mean, all I can say is just from what I've heard is we it kind of became, like, I don't know what it is now. I know at one point that it was just kind of like where the celebrities and that, that those sort of people went to there for that
Mm,
medicine.
mm.
And the ceremonies were very large, very, very large ceremonies with a lot of people in them. And it's, and I can only speak from what my personal feeling is around that, is that our portal and our this project is about supporting smaller ceremonies where everybody feels supported. Because when you have that many people in a ceremony, it's like how, and that much energy within the room,
Yeah.
if you don't have enough support staff, then people are, there's a safety issue, I feel, because these medicines are they're very powerful, and things can really happen in that space. And so I can tell you
Well,
that the ceremonies that,
I love that. Rhythmia does
yeah,
have a full medical staff online
yeah,
on the premises, and they also
yeah,
put people through extensive medical testing. I
good,
know a lot of I know a lot of people who've actually been there. It's not for just celebrities. I have to
yeah,
beg to differ on that
okay,
because I actually work with people who have been over
hmm,
there, doctors, and that's why I was just curious. That integration process you're talking about afterwards is the bigger issue. It's the bigger
yeah,
issue because it's like any event. You go to an event, you're all hyped up, everybody's woo, woo, woo.
right,
And no matter whether you're doing plant medicine or you're just in community and doing this beautiful experience with others, and you leave and there's this emptiness because we
right,
now what do I do? Now how
right,
do I implement this and how do I make this a part of my life? So from what I'm really picking up and from what I researched about you, you're looking to build a community so that people don't feel like they're out there alone because we're all trying to do the same thing. We're trying to do human, just, easier, better, not fucked up,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. That's a really good point. And really what we're trying to build with the portal is,
Hmm.
um, one, 100% focused on the integration aspect, that really shining a light on that's what the real
I
work
love that.
is.
Hmm. Hmm.
And secondly is, as you were saying, these medicines, they come from villages, right?
Oh yeah.
And so when you go down to the jungle to do these medicines, they don't really talk about integration, because the integration is basically built in, right? Because they're doing it within the village, they live in the village, they're not going anywhere, right? Well, it's very different for us in the West, right? We transcend on these spaces and that to do this work, and then we
Yeah.
leave that container and we come back to our lives here, and trying to figure out, like, now what do we do? And so with the portal, what we're building is what I'm calling is the virtual village. You know,
Okay.
when we're in these spaces, there's this camaraderie that happens, right? There's
Right.
this feeling of support, and we meet people sometimes for the first time that turn out to be like, forever friends after these ceremonies and that sort of thing. And it's like, when we leave those containers to go back to our life, like, I miss that feeling. And
Right.
so,
Yeah.
right, yeah,
Hmm.
so through the portal, we're creating what's called the virtual village. And the virtual
I like
village
that.
is where people can come back to on a daily basis to connect with other people within this community, and to be seen and heard, and um, just kind of get that feeling that we miss when we leave these containers. And then our integration space is called the virtual fire, that the fire is always burning for medicine brothers and sisters to come and gather to help integrate these experiences with vetted psychedelic plant medicine and licensed therapists as part of these calls. So the way it's currently set up when we launch is it's going to be on the new moon and the full moon of each
Hmm.
month, where we'll drop into a Zoom call with the licensed therapists and psychedelic and plant medicine integrators as part of the call. and really welcoming people into that space that are on this journey, that are looking for the tools and the resources to really do the real work, the important work in this space. And that if they don't feel comfortable integrating in a group setting, then they can
Hmm.
then go to our coaches page where they can um, work with one of our coaches one on one. And
I really like that.
right now we've onboarded about 22 or 23 coaches in all different aspects of the plant medicine world. So we've got a really great team of people.
I love
Um,
that. I want to take a dive down and talk about where you're vetting your coaches from, and all of that, because UC Berkeley has an entire program that's now almost a year long, and they're on their third round of psychedelic sitters. So I mean, these are MFCC licensed therapists, doctors, whatnot,
mhm,
all becoming actual licensed certified sitters for because mental health should be everybody's priority, and this is
mhm.
one way to strong mental health. So Joe Sliker, who's my husband, he says, I appreciate your take on small groups for ceremonies. I've also heard that you need to have a real quote unquote shaman present. Do you agree? That's a good question, Joe. Thanks.
Yeah, that is a great question. It's it's really important. Basically what's happening in this space is that it's become very, very popular, right? These medicines have become very popular. And you have people that go down to the jungle for 3 months and they come back and, because
Yeah,
a quote unquote shaman said, you have my blessing. And now like 3 months later, they've got their shaman card and they're starting to facilitate medicine to people, which I think is just very dangerous. Um,
yeah.
and
Can we
so,
like emphasize that? That's really dangerous.
yeah, it's really, really
People,
dangerous.
super dangerous.
Yeah,
I like Rhythmia because they take
yeah,
extra precaution.
yeah,
But I mean, you're pointing out so many good things, but that's what this portal's about, is educating and integrity within the structure of plant medicine.
100%. And so, really, when you asked about our vetting process, when I was growing up, we had this thing that was called the Good Housekeeping Seal. I don't know if
Yeah.
you remember the Good
Oh
Housekeeping
yeah.
Seal. Okay.
Mhm.
So, the Good Housekeeping Seal, you knew that when you were buying a product, if it had that stamp on the box, that the product wasn't going to fall apart when you got it home. It was made well. It was a good company that you could trust. And so, like, I wanted to introduce that same thing into the plant medicine space and call it the Plant Medicine Portal Seal of Integrity. And so the
I like that.
so so
That's good.
we have our Plant Medicine Portal Seal of Integrity. So in order to be in service to our village, you've got to go through a very extensive vetting process. And so we have it broken down into three different categories: if you're a retreat center, if you're a facilitator, and if you're an integrator. And
Gotcha.
so like, if you're a retreat center and you want to, you know, be in service to our village, because really what we're building with the portal is we're building trust in a space that really needs trust and accountability and integrity right now. And when people come to the portal, we want to make sure that they feel safe, that they feel nourished, that they're educated, and that they're supported before, during, and after this process. And so, like, for instance, with the retreat centers, it's 40 requirements in 7 key areas in order to be vetted with us. With our facilitators, it's also like 7 key areas with like up to 25 or 26 requirements. And with our integrators, it's 5 different categories with like again up to 25 different requirements. And it's covering everything from quality and safeties, social and environmental impact, customer prioritization requirements, laws and regulations, professional integrity, ethical, marketing, like, are people like do you know exactly what you're getting, or do you feel like you're in a funnel and you might be charged more than what you're expecting? So really just being ethical about that. Um, really like the background and experience of these facilitators, because so our virtual fire that we're going to have twice a month is going to be more than an integration space. That's really going to be our classroom too, where we can talk about things that we're not really talking about in these spaces, at least in my experience, which is like, how many people that are sitting with these medicines are actually asking questions of the facilitator? Or are they just so happy to be on a list, that they just will go and drink medicine from whoever's facilitating it to them? Because I can tell you, this portal is being built because I had two very bad ayahuasca experiences where if I had done any kind of homework, like I would have not sat in those ceremonies, but I didn't know what I
Right.
didn't know, right? So it's like educating people on asking some questions like, how long have you been facilitating medicine? Where is the medicine coming from? How many ceremonies have you done? When the shit hits the fan, what are your protocols? Like just asking some very simple questions before you just go and drink medicine with whoever.
Well, I gotta agree because I've interviewed stuff. This isn't my first talk about this. I've spoken with a young man many, many moons ago, and I remember him talking about they were just give him these glasses and he just keep drinking. And so the experience, well, first off, it just wasn't done properly because you get people out there who think, oh, it's like weed.
Right.
No, plant
Yeah.
medicine, as we're talking about plant medicine, the respect over the plant is really the case scenario here
Yeah.
because people can get really hurt. And as a matter of fact, he went through, I think he said, I don't know, 4 or 5 years it took him to get his mental
Mhm.
faculties. And he was
Mhm.
a young guy. He was like,
Yeah.
I think he was like 27 at this point, and then like he was like in his early 30s by the time it turned around for him. And but he had to
Yeah.
do a lot of work to get back, a lot of rebuilding.
Yeah.
A lot of these medicines rip up your serotonin and your dopamine and all this stuff, and it strips you because that's what it's stripping you for a
Yeah.
reset. But if you don't have regulation tools, if you don't have your proper structures in place for what you do when you're losing your own shit and not
Yeah.
trying to rely on somebody else, yeah, it could be really, well, detrimental, just period. You could
Yeah.
wind up with schizophrenia, you could wind up with mental health issues that you won't recover from.
Yeah.
So whereas taking our mental health in our own hands, the safety protocols have to be put in place. So because ayahuasca's not I haven't done this. I don't know what it's like. Honestly, it's the purging that keeps me from it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I don't know. I do not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, but my they said thank you for your response. He said, and I love that. Um, but I think that the big questions that you brought up were how long you've been doing it, where are you getting your medicine from? Oh my God, can we get a
Yeah.
better question than that? And do you need a shaman? I realize they go over there, but
Yeah.
you also you also said that they do this in villages and then they're in the villages. And so, I mean, they're already in community,
Yeah.
which do you realize that community, I mean, the plants are they open the doorways, but
Right.
community is everything. It
100%.
literally, it's why AA worked because it was
Yeah.
community as whacked as their tools are.
Yeah.
I mean, anything that's going to tell you you're broken does to me is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
So within that, how do you people know like rewarding them, you don't want to do this and that, you want to be guarded, but then what are the reasons you do want to do it?
When you say what are the reasons you do want to do it, what are you referring to?
Why? What are the reasons someone would want to do ayahuasca?
Mm.
I mean, I'm a kid, but I'm curious what you think.
It's very interesting. Something that that I've heard for a long time, that one, that these medicines are not for everybody. They are absolutely not for everybody.
That's so true.
And I feel that the medicine, when you're ready, if you're ever ready, the medicine finds you. Like, it aligns with you when you're ready. And I would say that the reason why these medicines don't call to everybody is because this is very difficult work. It's very difficult work, and some of us, and I say all of this with no judgment. Some of us just want to just kind of go through life, and that's just the way it is. And then there's other people that really want to go deep within themselves and remember why they're here. And and um, most of us have some form of childhood trauma, you know, and so these medicines can be very good for showing you that. And then are you tasked to do the work, right? That once you're shown, these things, like, are you in a position to really do the work and dive deep within yourself to do that? And so that's why, some people aren't, and there's nothing wrong with that. We all have our own journeys in this incarnation, and so I think a lot of times these medicines are great for people that have tried everything else, right? And they
Everything.
don't, they've exhausted all other avenues, and it's like, okay, let me go down this path and see if this is the thing that can finally help me.
What is it they're trying to help is the nervous system conditioning, the behavior patterns, as you said, severe PTSD. Since we've all experienced COVID, we can all now say that we've all experienced CPTSD because COVID literally initiated that for a lot of people.
Mhm.
And the people who just already had it, maybe like we're just not really all that affected by it. But the
Yeah,
fact is that, all of us understand what it's like to become anxious, angry, get out of our natural state of our natural essence and go into a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn stuck limbic system that's never going to go anywhere state.
right.
And the reason that ayahuasca mushrooms, can I even tell you how much that I think mushrooms are like God's gift to all of us?
A
I can't.
1,000%.
Oh, Lord. And I mean, talk about a serotonin,
Mhm.
dopamine
Yeah.
restructuring process. Oh my God. So, yeah, there's
Yeah,
so much good.
one of my
But
dearest friends has been working with that medicine for over a decade and has the most amazing protocol for microdosing psilocybin. That is,
it's such a good
it's
thing.
it's it's so next level what he has created.
Oh, I'm excited about that. You know,
Yeah.
so because we're talking about nervous system reconditioning, and we're talking, this is why people get pulled to the medicine. When you were saying,
Mhm.
because what comes up for me is when you say, when they've tried everything else. And I understand that. That means for
Mhm.
me that the nervous system's completely out of whack and
Yeah.
you can't get that sucker back into a state of peace. That's what that means. If
Yeah.
I've tried
Yeah.
everything, it means I can't get to a state of peace. I don't have tools.
Yeah.
So those people who do not have those kind of tools, this is where your portal will step in, because if you if you get somebody who can't do it at a normal state and then they go through ayahuasca and then they have to do the work, what tools are we going to be giving them to in order for them to integrate?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of different things, from meditation, breath work, body movement, journaling. we've got like 17 different things that they can, that we can recommend. And also too, so I'm going to show you this. So this is what started my whole journey. So this is going to be a journal and handbook that I'm going to be putting out there, and it's called My Journey with the Teachers. And
Mm-hmm.
this is, it really heavily focused on integration, heavily focused on all the different tools and resources for integrating these things, as I said, with like journaling and just movement and being out in nature, like just spending time out in nature, is another great way of integrating and just listening. I just recently did about a month and a half ago, a 4-day quest, and
Mm-hmm.
it was called Strength and Stillness, and it was 4 days out in the mountains here in North Carolina. It was cold out. We camped out. We had sacred fires, cold plunge, yoga every day. And then one of the days, and there was no medicine on this journey. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the days, the third day, the theme of the day was death. And we did a mini vision quest. And so basically there was 14 questees. We each went into a different part of the property in the woods and sat for 9 hours. And when I tell you, like sitting in nature for 9 hours by yourself and just listening, it was the most profound and powerful experience for me. And just like that is something like I would recommend as an integration like tool for somebody, is just to like go out in nature and just sit and listen to the birds and the trees and the wind and just your higher self coming in. And yeah, it was really, really powerful.
Well, I'm kind of digging this because there's a lot of people who can't get their hands on plant medicine, or they're going to have to go to Mexico, or they're going to
Mhm.
have to go to Peru or to Costa Rica. You know, uh, in Colorado, where we are, it's psilocybin is a legal substance.
Right.
So is ibogaine, but the others are not. So
Yeah.
because of that, I really am digging what you're saying, to take advantage of being able to integrate now, to take advantage of understanding that you actually could be living your best life right this minute, is going outside in nature. I freaking love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I nine look, I'm gonna be honest. I don't nine nine nine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got nine
Can
nine
can I
minutes.
tell you something?
Nine
It
minutes
was,
is the thing. 9 hours?
let me tell you, it was very, very interesting because on this quest, there were several of the people that were there were,
Yeah.
were on the medicine path,
Mm,
and there was no medicine there. And when I tell you that we came out of that with some of the most profound experiences without having any medicine. And and that's
yeah,
another that's another thing with the portal too. Like another one of our
I love that.
messages is like
Mm.
we are the medicine, and
Oh,
life is the ceremony, and that these medicines are a tool
mm,
when we need them, but don't let them become a crutch for us, and that we don't, you know, we want people to get off of the medicine because everything we need is within us. Sometimes we just need a little something to open the window to show us, and really using the medicines in that fashion where they don't become a crutch, but they're really a tool. It's like one of the things I say is that imagine if the pharmaceutical industry was doing the right thing, right? In the sense that
yeah.
we're going to prescribe you this pill, and that pill is going to work, and the idea is to get off of it, not for you to be on it for the rest of your life. And it's really the
Mm-hmm,
same thing.
mm-hmm.
It's really the same thing with these medicines. It's like these medicines are a tool. They're not
They are, and
something
they
where,
tell you,
yeah,
don't
it's not
they?
something for you to be on, on for the rest of your life.
No, they tell you when it's time to stop too.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
what I have.
absolutely.
It's so for those listening who are like, what do you mean they tell you? What do you mean they talk to you? What do
Yeah.
you mean? That sounds really kooky racha. What the
Yeah.
hell?
Yeah.
Well, because they do talk to you. I can't,
Yeah.
there's a knowingness that comes up in your
Absolutely.
spirit that says, we've loved being with you, but it's
Yeah.
time to, to not for a while. That's what the mushrooms were
Yep.
like. We're done for a while. And we're talking about microdosing, everybody. A stacked Mayans main. It's the Paul Stamets
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
stack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. The standard stack. Yeah.
Stamets. Yeah, the Stamets stack, and which is phenomenal. And I can thank my son for teaching me everything that I know about
Mm,
plants because he's the one. My son's 33. He's taught me a lot about plants.
yeah.
And but the fact is that and I know from whence I speak that don't let it be a crutch. And that right there is something that's really been up in my face lately, especially about marijuana. I don't smoke, but I love edibles, and edibles have, especially with CBD and THC, and
Mhm.
I mean well, it used to be microdose, but the thing is that the plant talks and it
Yeah.
says, and it's been talking to me lately saying, I think I don't know that your nervous system necessarily needs you. Now, for me,
Mm,
it saved my life. I'm going to tell you that before the introduction of marijuana into my life, that I had a hard time moving, that I was taking pharmaceuticals for neuropathy,
yeah.
and that it was some bullshit. It was really rough. And then once I learned how to use the plant properly,
Hmm.
I, I all of a sudden I can move, I can go walk, I can do
Yeah.
things. My physicality was better, my nervous system was better. But now, as I'm really integrating some nervous system techniques that I am sparking it, the medicine's talking. And this is just the way that it works for everybody that I think. But it's a healing process. And I just want to back up and confirm what you're saying. We want people to get off. We don't want you don't want to be on this forever.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, too, something I'd like to bring up around cannabis because it's really something that I have a passion for in the sense that as somebody who abused it for such a long time,
Mm,
of
mhm.
when you come to the portal of really just educating, because I
Yeah,
feel like that's probably the top plant if you were going to pick one that gets abused more than anything else
I think so.
just because of the access to it, right? And it's like it's a medicine just like everything else.
It really is.
Have an intention of why you're sitting with that medicine instead of
That's right.
just constantly smoking it or doing bong hits or whatever. Like, treat it as any other medicine and have an intention as to why you're praying with her, and do it in a good space. And I just think it can be so powerful for people in that way. But we've, because of the access to it, I think we just kind of, that just gets kind of turned off, right? And we just do it without even like honoring her and having an intention as to why, like, why today am I sitting with you? What do I want from this experience with you? What are you here to teach me right now? Like, just really wanting to, as I mentioned before, education being like such a big part of what the portal is all about, and good information, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. So having like really like trusted good information around all of this, um, is really what we want to put out there.
I completely agree with you. I mean, as far as like abusing marijuana, yes, people absolutely you can abuse anything.
Absolutely.
You can abuse a popsicle. Okay? Like you're just eating
Yeah.
so much ice cream that
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely.
So it's really about the awareness. And you said how that you really, why are you doing this right now? How is this serving me? And really tuning into yourself to ask yourself the very important questions, because at some point you really taking control of our life on our terms as an individual without any type of crutch or any type of thing external, I think is the goal. Some of us have had a harder time with that than others.
Yeah.
If I can just be really straight,
Yeah.
like
Absolutely.
I've had all of the traumas, all of them, from childhood on. I had a great childhood too.
Yeah.
Polarity, baby. What would we do without polarity?
Yeah.
But what I know is I've had all the physical stuff. I've had just whatever. So when a nervous system has been as racked as mine was, and I say was, I know that it has taken, it's consistent. I'm never, it's just never going to be done. I mean, David, I don't know if I'm ever going to be done restructuring this son of a bitch, man.
Hmm.
It is just like, oh Lord Jesus.
Hmm.
Like if an anxiety rises up, oh, I had that happen. I had that happen earlier. I had anxiety kind of, you know how it kind of just comes up, you know?
Hmm.
And I had to ask the questions again. Is this really true? Is this really necessary? Why
Yeah.
do I feel this way? Why do I feel like I need to not feel this way? And that was a really big thing. Why do I think I don't need to feel this way? Am I going to die? No. Maybe. Who cares? I would be dead. If that's what's happening for me, and those questions are the thing that bring me back to myself. And I feel like the plants are what helped me to come to that place.
Mm.
But I don't know that they're necessary forever. And that back to what you were
Yeah.
saying. So having community, because our conversation is the conversation like that you would have in the community. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So this right here, y'all, and I'm sure that there's people on right now who hear us and are going, oh my God, I totally get this. Or you're watching this later and you're like, wow, me too. Because we're all just human trying to do human, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? Um, and Phil Stoller, who I've known since I was 18, forever, was the greatest. Oh, well, actually, Yogs, you saved your life, bud. I love you. Listen to what I have to say. You're such a doll. No, Yogi, I thought you
Yeah.
were asking, bro, ask us a question. So I, I love you too, honey. But I actually, you know what? Somebody who's known me for a long, long time
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
has watched me go through some of the stuff I just talked about.
Yeah.
Who knows firsthand? Who saw the broken Debbie? Well, I don't know. I was never broken, but I thought I was. Okay, the things that I allowed because that's what my body and my
Hmm.
existence needed in order to be Debbie today, you
Hmm.
know? But these nervous system tools are things that we can start implementing now. And plants, I love the portal and I love that and it opens us up. What can you give to people? What can they start doing right now today? We already talked about nature, get out in nature, but what else?
Mm. So I wear a watch, and my watch says now.
Okay, stay
Just
present.
just stay present. Yeah. 100%. Like when we go into the past, it can be depression. When we go into the future, it can be anxiety. But when we stay in the now, I mean, that's all there is this now moment. So
Yeah,
just be present and be gentle with yourself. You know,
that's huge.
I come from, a person of, beating myself up a lot in the past for things that I've done or whatever. And just,
How'd that work for
just,
you?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Just in
Exactly.
case anybody's
Yeah,
wondering, what
yeah,
would
it
beating
doesn't.
yourself up doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. So yeah, just being in the present moment, uh, gratitude. Just I'm a huge proponent of gratitude and gratitude journaling and just being grateful for everything that I have in this lifetime.
I love
Uh,
that.
More gratitude brings more abundance. So
It's a magnet. It's a magnet.
yeah,
So practicing, well, you went to my go-to because practicing gratitude was the way that I've managed to go through all those experiences. Literally, I mean, when people cannot, look, I start complaining about my life and I have to take a real step back. I'll get into my everyday ego, edging God out, as thank you, Dr. Wayne Dyer.
mm.
And you remember him.
Oh, of course.
Oh God, love him. Change your
Yeah.
thoughts, change your life, man. Teachings of the Tao Te Ching.
Yeah.
But
You,
gratitude is the key.
yeah. Do you follow Neville Goddard?
Oh yeah. Oh God. He was some good stuff, man. I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you. Talk about new thought, new age. Well,
Yeah.
it's cool. What's cool is there's another one that popped back up into my vision
Yeah.
recently, The Impersonal Life with Joseph Benner.
Oh, I have not. I'm not familiar with that.
So Dr. Wade Dyer was talking about one of the most profound books he has read in a long time, written in 1916. And the reason he was struck by it was because Elvis uh, Presley used to carry this book and the autobiography of a yogi with him,
Mhm.
right? So he got the book, The Impersonal Life. Let me tell you all, you can go to YouTube right now. You can go listen
What's
to
it called?
The Impersonal Life.
Okay,
That
I'm writing it
it's
down.
it's truly about the I am presence. It's about the I am within all
Yeah.
of us. And
Yeah.
the conversation that we're all having is about the I am that I am within each and every one of us. And that book was first published as anonymous because back then a Baptist preacher could not be talking about the I am that I am and that
Mm.
we are oh, it's going to blow your mind. I'm going to be dying to hear about what you think. So,
Yeah.
then after like the last ant died or whatever, then they decided to put it out with his name. But back in 1916, yeah, don't do that because then
Yeah.
they're gonna burn you at the stake like they probably burned all of us at the stake back when we were actually
Yeah.
witches. So
I don't know.
so I want to thank you for being here today, and I appreciate this bold conversation about things that are really to do with how to do human in a way that actually feels just a tad bit better because it's not so uncomfortable to be in our bodies.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about this project that's so near and
Yeah,
dear to my heart. And yeah, I would say if anybody wants to go to plantmedicineportal.com, we're still building it out, looking to launch it very soon. But they could drop their email in there, and we can notify them when our virtual village is ready to open up to welcoming everybody in to be seen and heard and feel safe and nourished and educated, like really educated about all of this stuff.
I'm pretty excited about this because community is everything. It's just
I
everything.
Everything happened, you know what, in all of the ceremonies I've ever done and ceremonies that I've facilitated, everything happens around the fire. Everything happens around the fire. And that's why our integration space is called the virtual fire, because
I like
we're
that.
gonna
That's
we're
cool.
gonna welcome we're gonna welcome people in to sit around that fire, and we're all gonna do the work together.
Well, it's a really great thing to do. I used to do empathy rooms called Compassionate Talk
Mm,
during COVID. And I'm going to tell you that what you're talking about doing is going to be such a godsend to so many people because we're in need of community, be it
Yep.
online, in person, no matter what. And people with, you want to attract your tribe, people who, challenge your thinking too, but, that at least have some sort of alignment there. And I just know that community is going to be the answer to everything. It's the one thing we
Yeah.
don't have. And what we used to have, uh, small little towns,
Yeah.
and you know, I mean, way back when we were tribes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah,
Yeah. And I think also too, what we want to do with Plant Medicine Portal as well is to like encourage people and provide tools and resources for them to go out within their own community,
yeah,
and start building um, these little tribes, uh, uh, providing ideas to have gatherings and really like, community is everything. And so we'll have it virtually for people, but also giving
which
them,
is important.
yeah, maybe tools to how to create something within their own community for support too.
Well, I love that, to encourage to spread out into your own community and to do it in person. And I think that that's brilliant too. You know, their mental health goes down when people are isolated. And we have all experienced what isolation looked like. And some of us took advantage of nature, and some of us took
Right.
advantage of, you know, others really, it was a hard hit. And so
Yeah.
during this great awakening, we're learning that there's other ways to do human, and what we've been taught might not be right.
Yeah.
Well, it might have been right back then, but it
Yeah.
may not be right today.
Yeah.
I mean, what
Yeah.
we've
And
been
you know
taught
what?
about plants is way off.
And I also wanted to say, like, I really appreciate you um, sharing with me about rhythmia because I had, I was only going by what I heard, right?
Mm, hmm
And so to talk to somebody that is more tapped in with what is going on there, I really appreciate you educating me on that. Like,
You bet.
I really do.
It's a killer place, dude. Like, you know
Yeah.
what? Like, seriously, Michael Beckwith does events there all the time.
Yeah.
So does Kyle Cease, Greg Braden.
Yeah.
Um, but it isn't just that. It's the fact
Yeah.
that, well, okay, have you seen The Reality of Truth?
No.
Okay. I highly encourage everyone to
Writing
watch
that down too.
The Reality of Truth. If you want to really take a deep dive with Zappelin down into the plant medicine world, The Reality of Truth is really going to blow your mind. Zappy also did an amazing documentary with Lamar Odom called Reborn. And that was Lamar Odom's journey through ketamine and then on to
Mm,
Ibogaine to break the opiate addiction. But
wow.
opiate, well,
Yeah.
that's a whole other discussion. But Ibogaine,
Absolutely.
opiate, Ibogaine
Absolutely.
is what people need to do who are on heroin and opiates.
100%. Did you see the Joe Rogan, Brian Hubbard?
No,
Oh my gosh, are you
I'm
serious?
gonna have to see. No, I'm gonna have to see that.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah. Okay. So Joe
yeah.
Rogan, uh, Brian Hubbard, and it was the ex-governor. What's his name? I can't remember offhand, but when I tell you the most mind-blowing like episode about ibogaine and the studies that are happening with that, and yeah,
Oh,
hundred
it's
percent, you need to check it out.
it's giving people. It's oh god, it's giving people their life
Oh, Rick
back.
Perry. So yeah, so Governor Rick Perry, so Joe Rogan, Governor Rick Perry, and Brian Hubbard.
Thanks, Yokes.
Unbelievable.
Thank you, Yogi. I love that. Yogi's darling. He said, you gave me one of the best to teach myself how to be a better person, how to get anger and triggers under control.
Mm,
Yeah, but Yogs, you did it. And that's what I love. I have these beautiful best friends for like they're my
mm,
heart friends for my entire
yeah.
life. And I'm so blessed to have them. And they love me just as I am, and they've seen me at my worst and best, and they love me no matter
Mm,
what.
mm,
But I also, it's, and vice versa, you know? There is something very unique about being able to know somebody so long that they've seen all that, and then they give you, I'm like, I think we all kind of grew up together on this.
yeah.
I think that we all grew up together, and that at this point at 57, I am here to tell everybody that there's a better way to do human. You don't have to live in anxiety and take a bunch of
Yeah.
bullshit
Yeah.
pharmaceuticals that are just going to completely destroy you. There's so many other options. And no, I'm not saying go out and do plant medicine because that's going to cure you. I'm saying find community, start talking,
Yeah.
start looking, find a therapist. I have a therapist. My therapy's on Sunday. I use talkspace.com. That is not a plug, but I freaking love it. EMDR, do somatics, get your butts moving. And I'm going to give you a rundown real quick. Psychological side. You could do a deep inhale with a quick inhale and hold and slow release and reset your nervous system in less than 30 seconds.
Mm.
Ready? Are your marks get set? Let's do it, everybody. We're going to breathe in really deep. And then one more quick inhale, hold, and slow release. Like you're deflating a balloon. And that, my friends,
Mm.
is how you actually can reset your nervous system
Mm.
quickly. EMDR, eye movement desensitization, will reset your entire life. It's like the windows to your nervous system. They say your eyes are the window to your soul. And there's so much more out
Mm.
there that are, but I'm going to tell you, plant medicine is that pathway, doorway to the open expansion and kind of moving yourself out of the way for a minute. So if you haven't moved yourself out of the way for a minute, you don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So when people are saying get present, but they're in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn because their limbic system is like so hijacked, they're they can't. You tell them to do bilateral eye movements, tick tock. I mean, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know what that does? That puts both of your hemispheres of your brain back online. Do
Wow.
turn your eyes in some circles. Makes you want to take a deep breath because that initiates your vagus nerve, puts you right back online. So if you've been hijacked, you just now found out how to get yourself
Wow.
back online,
I
just like that.
love that.
Is
I
that rad
love
or what?
that.
I swear, spark that G vibe.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know about those. I appreciate it. I love it.
You guys, like I am the nervous system nerd, you know. And let's see what Yogs has to say. Well, we all grew up, which people don't understand. This has trauma can be mild. Some, I agree, honey. Yep, yep. It's all about how we handle our own stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we're working on our own garden inside, you know, we're gonna be we can be a joy to others, and life changes when you're around people that are nicer.
Hmm.
Not saying that I can't get cranky, but
Mm.
these tools are
Yeah.
seriously they save your butt. At least
Yeah.
they save mine. So I just encourage everybody to take what you like and leave the rest. You know where you got that from. There's always good in something.
Yeah.
Okay? I
Yeah.
take out the pieces that I think that are good
Hmm.
and I throw away the rest. And I want you all to do the same with
Yeah.
this conversation and every conversation you have, as well as challenge the things you hear by going and researching. Do your own
Yeah.
research. Watch The Reality of Truth. You will freaking love it. And then, oh, it's bomb. What would you like everybody to know before we leave? Um,
Mhm.
so about plant medicine portal, something maybe you haven't said about it.
Um, yeah, I would probably just finish up and say that what's getting ready to be birthed in this space from this portal is going to be a space where people can come and feel nourished and feel safe and feel seen and feel heard and get educated and be connected to people of just the highest integrity that are facilitating these medicines, that are integrating these experiences, that can coach you through this, and where you can really learn about this entire process around plant medicine uh, in a good way. And that all the people involved, I like to say, you have people that walk in front of the medicine and you have people that walk behind the medicine. And
Mm,
we're all walking behind the medicine. You know,
that's
we're all
beautiful.
we're all very humble and we're all here to serve, and we want to bring integrity and accountability into this space. And that's what the portal is going to be about, is bringing all of that to people. So
I
thank you
love
so
it.
much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it so
Oh, it's
much.
It has been my pleasure, David. This is a conversation that I just enjoy having because I love groundbreaking. Well, this isn't even groundbreaking. It's been centuries. This has been around, but
Yeah,
groundbreaking for us. And I hope that those watching have gotten something out of this today. And
me too.
we love you. Remember, spark that G vibe. Keep that gratitude vibe popping. This has been some serious gratitude EQ, man. Emotional intelligence on like steroids. I will see you all again very, very soon. Peace out.